The Pulse School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Saskatchewan Pulse Growers and Nodulator XL.
So we're here at a select seed grower field tour and joined by Tom Warkentin, and you were talking primarily about pea breeding. So what are some of the objectives and goals of pea breeding right now?
Sure. Well, pea is quite an important crop in the prairies, and we like to keep it in the rotation of farmers. So we have to make the crop interesting for farmers to grow, and that mainly means it needs to be well yielding, high yielding in comparison to yields of canola or wheat, for example. So in order to get high yielding, we have to select for material that is good performing. So that could mean better disease resistance, easier to harvest, the right time to maturity in the season. So those are maybe some of the components that would give rise to good yield and make pea interesting for farmers. But also we need to have types that are desirable in the marketplace, so that the companies that are buying peas and other pulses will find them interesting. So then that has to do with aspects of the seed size and shape and color, and to some extent into nutritional aspects of the crop.
In terms of what consumers are demanding, I guess, is it different from what we're providing now, or is there some room for change?
Yeah, so it's kind of a complicated question because pulses grown in Western Canada are exported to a lot of countries. In addition, there's some used within Canada and North America. We'd like to see more use of pulses in North America. So basically, there are so many markets. There's North American markets, Indian markets, Chinese markets, and many others. And so there are, slightly different preferences in all of these. And then also another kind of complexity with pulses is that we have pea, but then we have green, we have yellow, we have large, small, we have lentil, large, small, red, and many other types. So it becomes kind of providing good quality that the various customers are looking for.
When you're talking about yield and maximizing yield, is it hard to balance all of these different things? I mean, We're talking about early maturing varieties would be great, but high yielding varieties would be great.
Yeah, definitely. So that's maybe the fun of plant breeding, is that you try to end up with a good package in a given variety, but even if it's your best variety, it's still lacking in something. So we try to combine the key things that we think the market needs, but there's always room for improvement. So one of the guys today asked, well, I'd like earlier maturing peas, and then I said, well, would you give up 5% or 10% of yield if you could have 1 week earlier maturity? And he said, maybe. So for some people, further into the northern parts of the growing area, or anywhere in the growing area where they really want to be able to harvest the peas early before their other crops, some growers would like the earliness. But generally, the higher yielding ones might be just a little bit later. And for most growers, they want the higher yielding, even if it is a little bit later.
You spoke of meadow and saying it's one of the most commonly grown in Saskatchewan.
Mm-hmm.
What makes it that way, and does it have some competitive or some contenders, I guess, coming up with that plant?
Sure. Yeah, meadow's a variety we released about 8 years ago, and it has been well received by farmers, and it is the most widely grown yellow pea variety probably in North America. And I think it's good because it has been a steady yielder. It stands up quite well, and it is on the earlier maturing side. It does combine good yield with somewhat early maturity, so that's what's made it popular, I think, especially in Saskatchewan and Alberta. We have a few now coming that we think should be replacing meadow in the years ahead. The one that perhaps looks the most promising is one we call Amarillo, and it's a yellow pea variety, and it's yielding, maybe 10% or more than meadow. and has been quite consistent in its yielding ability. So we're hopeful of that one, but it's still in the seed multiplication stage. Although what I'm hearing from some of the seed growers here is that by next year they'll be selling some of it as certified seed to farmers. So next year will actually be quite maybe a good launch for it into commercial agriculture.
And same sort of question, I guess, with Striker.
Okay, so Striker is a green pea, and we released that one more than a decade ago, and it's still the most widely grown of the greens. It has really nice seed quality into the market, and also it does a bit better than some other varieties in years when things are a bit wet and the disease pressure is a bit higher. So Striker has been quite consistent. We have released a few others since then, definitely, well, we think we'll see how it goes from the seed growers and the farmers as to whether those become popular enough to replace Striker.
Are there any other varieties coming in the next couple of years that we should keep an eye out for?
Yeah, I mean, as plant breeders, we always talk about new stuff, and we definitely have promising new material coming in yellow pea and green pea and in some of the specialty types. So on the yellow pea, for me, it has to be something that's going to be better than Amarillo in some way. Otherwise, we don't need to release it. So, but there are a few contenders coming that could yield more than Amarillo, or maybe they yield more in one part of the province where Amarillo might be the leader in another part of the province. We may see that kind of a split in adaptation. We also do work in some specialty type peas like maples and marrow fat types, which are for snack foods. We're maybe doing a bit on peas for sprouting markets. We have peas that we promote as forage peas, where the end product is not the seeds themselves, but the biomass, the whole plant material, which would be cut and made into silage for cows. We're doing a little bit of work like that. So there's kind of a basket of things that could be coming. Yeah.
Awesome. Don, thank you so much.
Okay, no problem. Thanks.